Hey there, welcome to Let's Talk IT Careers. My name's Tim Warner. This episode is number 12. Its title is eBooks for IT. All right, let's get right into this. I've been writing trade books, as they're called, computer books, print books, whatever, since 1999. My first book was on the Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer, or MCSE, certification for Windows NT 4. And of course, it's a nice benchmark to write a book. I'm deeply grateful for my ability to write and the faith that publishers have given me over the years. But the problem with this is that these trade books, these computer books, take months to produce. There's not just writing the manuscript. Well, there's planning the manuscript, but in going through the approval process, the composition takes a while. But then there's editing, technical editing, and content editing. There's page layout and working about line art if you need that, and placing graphics. The author doesn't generally have to worry about that, though. And then there's sales and marketing and all the promotional materials. By the time the book's actually delivered, it could be up to 6 months that's gone by since you started the project. And what happened with this book is that literally a couple weeks after it hit the shelf, Microsoft announced the Windows 2000 certifications, and they retired the NT ones that rendered my book obsolete. And today in 2008, that book is beyond irrelevant. Now let's fast forward to 2018 and look at information technology. Now I'm a Microsoft specialist, so my examples will involve Windows and Microsoft Stack solutions. Think of Windows. Think of the Windows client, Windows 10. We now have what's called Windows as a Service, where instead of, say, every couple of years, Microsoft gives you either a major service pack update that gives new features, enhancements, and so forth, or an entirely new version. Think over the past, I don't know how many years it's been since, say, Windows XP, and then 7, and 8, and 8.1, and now 10. Nowadays, Microsoft is going to a 2-time-a-year major update cycle, and that is very fast for an application like Windows that's an entire operating system. If you're looking at Microsoft Azure in the public cloud, they're releasing features almost every day. So what does this mean? Well, from a working IT professional standpoint, it means that you have to be a perpetual student, obviously. But in terms of writing a book on this technology, when it's so volatile, it's really difficult because, again, all the work you put into it, and then once the book's printed, you've effectively snapshotted the technology at that point, and it goes out of date so quickly, you have to ask yourself as an author, why am I even doing this? So I have to say that I've grown. Well, I went through phases. If you've ever heard of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's book on the 5 stages of grief, I've gone through that with print books. Now, understand, I'm talking about information technology print books. I'm not talking about novels or anything like that. That's a totally different beast. Here we're talking strictly about IT books. Nowadays, in the 21st century, I'm done with writing paper books. I really am. Instead, I like what certain IT publishers, now they're pretty much all doing it, but for a while it was just certain publishers that were doing things like early access. Like if you've ever heard of safaribooksonline.com, I think it's owned by O'Reilly, but Pearson and a number of other publishers used to contribute to it. I think they still do, but they don't have an ownership stake. But you can log into the app either on your iPad or Surface or your computer or whatever, and as the author is writing the book, you can read the chapters as they're put in there, and you can actually provide the author feedback as he or she writes. Self-publishing is where I'm really at now. Don Jones is probably the person that I would credit for having helped me turn my attention away from, the old satisfying. I mean, it is satisfying to publish a print book and to see your name on the cover and all that, but I finally realized that the print market is not an appropriate model for tech books. Reader feedback, sure. And that's part of the iterative nature that you see both with companies like Pearson and O'Reilly that do the early access. Manning would be another one, Manning Press. They've got a fantastic, they call it MEAP, M-E-A-P, early access program that gives you an opportunity not to only read the book chapters early, but as I said, give the author feedback and submit corrections. All right, so where does that bring us? Well, personally, I'm a big fan of leanpub.com, and I'm working on a book there right now called Protecting Your VMs in Microsoft Azure, a Checklist Approach. And several of my friends, including Don and Jeff Hicks and Adam Bertram and a lot of other people, Jason Helmick, these people, Mike Robbins, these people have all published books on LeanPub very successfully. I mean, as an author, yes, you would like compensation because of the time that it takes in terms of researching and organizing the content and then actually writing it and editing it. When you're doing LeanPub, unless you hire somebody to do copy and tech editing, you're doing it yourself. And that's something for you as a reader to keep in mind when you're reading self-published books. Not to say that you don't see errors in big name books. Like when I worked at Pearson, there were some nightmare stories I can tell you about printing up thousands of books only to realize that we printed a non-final draft in the covers. Wow, that particular project was a nightmare. But anyway, like I said, to come back to my point, LeanPub is a great vehicle for tech books because of all the previous reasons I mentioned. The content is evergreen. You can, as an author, update the content whenever you want. And I like the idea that if you decide to purchase my book at LeanPub, as I update it, you just transparently receive those updates and you don't pay again. I guess there's different ways to do pricing where you can charge for updates, but I don't plan to do that. And that means that as Azure is always evolving, the idea is that I'll periodically update the book and make sure that it's still current. And it also gives me the opportunity to receive feedback. Oh, I don't like the way that you explained this so much. Would you mind going in this angle? And I can say, yeah, that sounds reasonable. Let me do that and add it to the next update. So there you have it. I felt compelled in this episode to discuss my philosophy towards tech books. And I'd be interested to hear what your take is as a reader. Very interested indeed. So to that point, wrapping up, if you want to contact me, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can leave feedback right in the comments. My Twitter handle is TechTrainerTim. I'm on the web in several places, but techtrainertim.com is my personal site, and my work site is pluralsight.com. Just do a search for my name and you can find my content. Awesome. Well, there you go. Thanks a lot for joining me. I'll see you at another episode, I hope.